We are keeping a close eye on Ottawa today for you. Prime Minister Mark Carney is stressing Canadian unity as another day of talks with Canada's premiers is underway. The First Ministers are looking to present a united front in the face of an unpredictable Trump administration. The upcoming review of the CUSMA trade agreement is something U.S. officials have implied could be fully renegotiated or scrapped altogether. Mark Carney again underlined the need to strengthen industries and lower barriers at home. And he said Canada was continuing to engage with the U.S. while aggressively pursuing opportunities with other trade partners.
In our coming months, we intend to advance our trading relationships with global giants, including India, the ASEAN countries representing more than 20% of global GDP, and Mercosur. And we will work to renew our most important economic and security relationship with the United States through the joint review of the Canada-United States-Mexico agreement later this year. Today we'll discuss how we can coordinate all of those efforts on trade and inbound investment to maximize their impact.
For more on all of this, I'm joined now from Ottawa by the CBC's Janice McGregor. So, Janice, the Prime Minister and some premiers all making the case that for unity and a clear economic path, saying that that's going to be really crucial for that CUSMA review, which of course is just ahead. And that unity issue, the topic of Alberta separatism, very much took center stage. Take us through it all.
Yeah, right off the top, one of the most interesting things about Mark Carney's remarks was that he was invoking Canada's first Prime Minister. They're in the Sir John A. Macdonald building for these meetings. And the Prime Minister talked about how Canada's first leader believed that this country's strength lay in its unity. And at the end of his remarks, he again returned to talking about Sir John A. Macdonald, talking about his building of the railway across this country and how important that was to this history, and that is an inspiration even for the mission that they're on now here in the 21st century when there is more nation building to be done. Otherwise, though, Carney's remarks played it a little bit cool. He didn't kind of get into any super strong language when it comes to the Trump administration. He did go over, preview some of the agenda today, talking about how among the things they were briefing premiers on would be a new electricity strategy that his government is about to announce. That is, of course, something where the plans to build major infrastructure projects and also keep Canada's climate objectives in mind kind of dovetail, looking for the premier's cooperation on that, briefing them in advance. Also, some collective action on crime issues. Of course, bail reform, something premiers asked the federal government to get serious about. There's a lot of crime legislation either in front of the House already or apparently coming as the spring goes on. Carney suggesting in front of the cameras that he would be discussing this, briefing on this for the premiers as well. But on the way in, another fairly kind of explosive issue took center stage. This has to do with a story that the Financial Times took to a global audience overnight. Had been some reports of this previously by a number of outlets. The fact that Alberta separatists were engaging with Trump administration officials, State Department, U.S. Treasury, seeking potentially some financing if their efforts to pass an independence referendum in Alberta were successful. BC Premier David Eby, unprompted, walked in front of reporters and wanted to vent about this. Take a listen and also hear what some other premiers also had to say about this.
To go to a foreign country and to ask for assistance in breaking up Canada, there's an old-fashioned word for that, and that word is treason. It is completely inappropriate.
I don't know about treason. It's unacceptable. It's unethical. I'm a little disappointed that they've done this, but this is an opportunity for Premier Smith to stand up and say enough is enough.
We had some conversations, and the joke that I said from Manitoba's perspective is like, wow, all this referendum talk makes me want to have a referendum too, except in Manitoba, the question is going to be, do you want to stay a part of Canada? And the two choices are going to be yeah and heck yeah. So that's where we're coming from.
I think you're talking about a minority of people who are agitating, and I am very optimistic that the majority of Albertans will demonstrate their love for this country and their desire to be a part of it in whatever comes next.
Danielle Smith, for her part, did not stop on her way into the meeting, so no word from Alberta's premier about whether this changes her approach to a movement in her own jurisdiction. And if you're wondering, what does Quebec's premier make of all this? François Legault is not running again. His party is currently choosing a new leader ahead of an upcoming provincial election at a time when sovereignty in that province is on the rise again. So it's not going to surprise anyone to hear perhaps that he was not interested in engaging with reporters yesterday and went in the back door today, staying far, far away from questions about this.
There's interesting details there about the Premier of Quebec. Janice, of course, ongoing tensions with the Trump administration seems to be driving many aspects of the First Minister's agenda. What are we hearing about the state of trade negotiations in Washington?
Because Mark Carney today was thanking the premiers for their cooperation with his trade agenda, noting that they have gone on some 20 trade missions to different parts of the world, helping diversify Canada's exports. And of course, they will be key players in the conversation with Washington this spring. Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe talked on his way in about what he was hoping to hear from the Prime Minister today on this.
What I'd like to hear is a conversation around really clarifying what Canada needs in that trade relationship moving forward, and whether or not then we're able to actually present that and move with respect to not the renegotiation of CUSMA, but the review of CUSMA that is scheduled for this summer. And I think we have an opportunity, maybe as Canadians, to even put, what our expectations and what our needs and what maybe some of our challenges are in that agreement forward sooner rather than later.
Of course, Canadian officials may have to make some hard choices on compromises and concessions in order to succeed and convince the Americans they do want to renew this. Premiers need to be on the same page as that if we're going to have any kind of a unified approach to this huge challenge.
Okay, indeed. Janice, thank you. The CBC's Janice McGregor in Ottawa for us.